Hey there, my name is Drew Brashler, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Yamaha TIO1608-D Dante stage box with the Behringer Wing, utilizing the Wing Dante card from Behringer. If you're brand new to my channel, I'm all about helping you feel more confident in production gear no matter where you're starting from. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, in my last video, I showed you how to set up the Wing Dante card with the Behringer Wing. And in this video, I wanted to show you how to remotely control the TIO stage box from your computer and get it interfaced with your Behringer Wing. Now, the setup is that I have my TIO1608-D sitting offside to the camera, and the primary is connected into my network switch that I have right here. And my Dante card on my Behringer Wing is also connected into that primary network switch, as well as my laptop with Dante controller and Yamaha R remote software. Now, I have two devices that I'm wanting to pull in from my TIO into my Behringer Wing. I have this vocal microphone right here that's plugged into input 2 on my TIO, as well as pink noise that's coming in on channel 1 on my TIO. So I'm going to go ahead and place my pink noise on channel 8 right here. So first off, we need to go to routing, we need to go to channels, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my pink noise on card 63. So I'm going to go to my channel 8 and I'm going to unlock my routing and then select card 63. And then on my vocal 1, I'm going to select card 64. So we can now see that I have my Dante 63 and my Dante 64 sitting here. So the next thing that we'll want to do is go do some routing inside of Dante controller. So I have Dante controller pulled up right here, and we can see that I have my Wing Dante card, my MacBook Pro, which is this computer, and my TIO1608-D sitting on this network. We can pull up device view, and we can go and select my Dante card. And then we can see that this is the 64 channels that it can receive. So to do the routing, I'm going to open up my TIO, and I'm going to drop channel 1 into channel 63, and I am going to drop channel 2 into 64. Now, one thing to note when you're routing these things is you can go and select multiple inputs at one time. For instance, I can select all 16 inputs and I can route them to my 16 inputs here. And if we want to remove them, we can simply select them and press delete. Now, one thing to see here is that I do have noise happening on this input. And if I pick up this microphone, check, 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 unfortunately, I would have to smash the top of this microphone to get to show that I have some signal here because the gain isn't set yet on this stage box. In fact, if we go and look at my channel here and I press select and go to my preamp, I am not even seeing any input unless I hit this microphone. It's causing me to hit this microphone to actually see any gain. Now, with Dante on the Behringer Wing, because it's the expansion card, the only gain that we have is actually a trim. So we can trim from positive 18 all the way down to negative 18 of trim on every channel that we have coming in on the Dante card, which is why we need to use Yamaha R remote for setting the gain of this stage box. So we can do that by pulling up our remote software here, and then we can see that I have some noise happening on this first channel, which we can click on the gain and we can simply bring it up. And I can then grab my vocal microphone, check, check, check. We can see that there's a little bit of signal as I'm talking to this, and I can go ahead and raise this up as well. Check, check, check. We can also apply phantom power if the input requires it. Once we have that, we can go back over to my console and I can see that I have pink noise, as well as my vocal microphone. Check, check, check. Now, what if I was wanting to set up the secondary network to have redundancy on this stage box? Well, all we would have to do is switch both of them to be redundant. And we can do that inside of Dante controller. So I have my Wing Dante card. I'm going to go to network configuration and I'm going to set this to redundant. It's going to force a reboot. So we are going to press yes, and then we are going to reboot. While this is rebooting, audio will stop passing while it's rebooting. And once it reboots fully, then the audio will continue to pass again. As we can see, I now have my pink noise back up. And if we go over to Dante controller, we can press refresh. And I can see that my current configuration on my Wing Dante card is set to redundant. The next thing that we'll need to do is go to our TIO and set this to be redundant. And we will also need to force a reboot. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to attach a network cord from the secondary port on my Wing Dante card directly to the TIO. Now, because I only have one device that's needing redundancy, I'm just going to do a direct connection. However, if we need to have more devices on the Dante network, then we would need to take the secondary port into an isolated network switch. It can be an unmanaged switch, but it does need to be separate than your switch that's connected to the primary network. And then we would plug in any of the devices into that secondary switch. So I typically travel with two network switches. One is primary, one is secondary. And then we would then connect both of the devices to the secondary and both of the devices to the primary switch. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in that network cable from the TIO to my Wing Dante card right now. Once we've connected that cable, we can go back over to Dante Controller and we can click Clock Status. And this is going to show us where our master clock is coming from, which is the Wing Dante card, as well as show us our secondary master as well. If we go to Device Info, it's going to show us our primary IP address and our secondary IP address. Now, one thing to make sure of: never connect a secondary redundant port into a primary switch. If you do this, it's going to cause a bunch of errors. So that is a very bad idea. So to do this correctly, you need to have the primary ports of all of your devices plugged into your primary switch, and your secondary port of all of the devices plugged into a separate network switch that's just dedicated to the redundant side of your Dante cards. And I can go ahead and push this network up. And I'm going to unplug my TIO from my primary network. So I have my network device right here on the primary, and I'm going to unplug this. And as we can see, audio did not drop. But this is the cord that's plugged in to my TIO for the primary network. And if we go over to my Dante controller, and after I press refresh on Dante controller, we can see that my TIO is not even showing up on my primary or secondary. And that's because this computer is only plugged in to the primary side. Once I go ahead and plug this primary back together and then press refresh, we will see that my primary and secondary addresses pop back up. Now, likewise, I could unplug my secondary network and audio would still continue. Now, one thing to note about networking with Dante is you do not actually need to have a DHCP server on the network, meaning that you don't need to have a router controlling all the devices. You can simply plug in all of your Dante devices into an unmanaged switch. In fact, Audinate has a list of approved Dante devices that you can go view on their website. The beauty of Dante is it's very simple and very robust, and it can be passed alongside network traffic that's being used in your church or venue. Now, I do recommend having Dante being on its own network if possible, but if you do have to have other network traffic alongside Dante, it can definitely work in that way. I hope this video was helpful for you today. I love Yamaha's stuff and I love Behringer's stuff, and I just love that we can use the two of these things together. So if you do happen to have a Yamaha TIO or a Rio sitting around and you need to add some more inputs into your Wing, you can definitely use that. Just make sure you have a computer with our remote and Dante controller on it so you can control it even more than just the trim that you have available to you on your Behringer Wing. If you do happen to have any questions, please post in the comment section down below. Also, if there's a video that you're hoping that I would make on really any of the production gear out there, please post that in the comment section down below, as I'm always reading through those comments to find videos that are going to be helpful for you. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my website at drewbrashler.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.